Hello, and welcome to As Built, the podcast from Graphic Machine about architecture firms, buildings, and how both get built. Today, I am with your co-host,
Brian Jones.
And I am your co-host, Patience Jones. Today's episode is an installment in our Checkup series about project closeout checklist. Now, every firm is going to have their own project closeout checklist. This is to add to that to make sure that everything that you need for marketing or promoting that project, you're getting when the project closes out, because that's the time you're most likely to be successful getting it. And it's the time you're most likely to get accurate information.
And it also deals with the inevitability that people move on from the firm and that you may no longer have access to the people who worked on the project to give you these details.
Good point. So the first category of information that you're going to want to make sure that you have is project details. So what does that include?
I mean, some pretty basic ones. Name of the project, its location, including a specific street address, very critical. Probably square feet of the project, maybe the project vertical. What else do you think?
So project vertical meaning like, is it an education project? Is it a healthcare project? Is it hospitality? It is going to seem painfully obvious to you when you're looking at the project, but the point is that you will, if you have this information, you can make use of it. And so you can sort things so that 5 years from now, when somebody says, oh, pull all of the education projects, this one will come up. To go back to name of project really quickly, make sure, if you can, it is the name of the project that is public. So whatever the project is called when it's done and completed and out in the world, almost 100% of the time, projects have different names when they're started because they just don't have other names. So you may call it something internally, or the project team may have called it something, but that name means nothing to anybody outside the industry. So really make sure you have the correct name of what it's actually going to be called.
Yep.
You're also going to want a project description. What is it? What was the goal of having it? Who's going to use it? What's it for? What's unique about it? And what did you do?
Yeah, and what challenge were you given to solve?
The year the project was completed. Again, patently obvious to you sitting here today, but 2 years down the road when somebody's looking for projects done in a certain year or wants to know how long ago you did this project, that's going to be useful. And then any products that you used. So what lighting did you use? What flooring did you use? Where did the furniture come from? Who did the windows? All that kind of stuff. Maybe you'll use it, maybe you won't, but it is far better to collect that now while everybody still knows what the answers are than trying to get it, for some reason 18 months later and nobody remembers and somebody has to go dig up all the paperwork.
So what do you think the next items would be?
Project people. So we just did project details. So project people would be the next. And that would include...
I mean, you definitely want to know who internal to your firm worked on it, their names and what role they had. That's a pretty critical thing because that's super useful too. If later down the road you want to submit for award submissions and you want to give credit to people for the job they performed, it's really nice to have that.
You're also going to want to have a list of all the other contractors, subs, trades who worked on the project. Maybe you will list all of them on your website. Maybe you'll list a handful of them. But for different awards, different certifications, different publications, you may need to have that entire list. So again, it's easier to put together at the time than to try to look back and remember who worked on a project. The name of the owner is really important. This is not always what you think it is when you're working on the project. Companies reorganize all the time. They have LLCs, they have subs. So if you're going to be talking about the owner of the project or listing the owner of the project or knowing who to contact later as the owner of the project, it's important to record who exactly owns this project and who do we need to go to if we need permission to do something.
And in the case of where you have a client rep that you're working with to help develop the project, that person is also helpful to add on to that.
That's a good point. And then it's a great time to get a client testimonial or feedback. if you were working on a project, whoever your client was, whoever you worked with, that's a great person to get a testimonial from. If you didn't work directly with the owner, but you can get a testimonial from them about what you did in your work, that's great. But at the very least, something from the entity that you were hired by. You don't have to use it, but get it and get it now. And it is the best time to get that, because when the project first opens, it's the time when people are most likely to be happy about it and satisfied. And as time goes on and life happens, and sometimes things don't turn out the way we thought they would, or things go wrong, or it's really hard to ask a client for a testimonial when you're like, oh yeah, I know we need to come out and fix the windows that didn't get installed properly. And also, would you like to give us a testimonial about our work? It gets super awkward. So do it right at project opening,
Yeah.
project closing. Next category is probably project visuals.
Make sure you have a version of the drawings that is suitable for including in a marketing presentation. This doesn't have to be the most detailed construction documents, but at least some form of the design document that could be used if needed for a presentation.
And for award submissions.
Absolutely. The construction photos are a great thing to have. I mean, one, this will be where you go to look for social content, and you might have a before and after that you want to show off. And this is a great place to have those in at the ready.
Completed photos, obviously. The project should be photographed when it is finished. Depending on the type of project it is, you have to decide, okay, is it better to photograph it before there are people in it? Do we want it photographed with people, whether those are the real users of the space, or we bring in, people from our office to perform certain roles while we're taking the picture? That's going to be up to you. But it is important to think about, okay, at what stage do we want to get this photographed? And the sooner the better. Because as the space becomes more inhabited, no matter how much you tried to make this not the case, it is just going to look a little more cluttered
Lived
than
in.
a little lived in. And, there'll be trash cans. There'll be, people doing things that,
Signs. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
So again, as soon as possible. And that dovetails with getting permissions. So getting permission from the project owner to promote the project if you need to, getting permission to identify who the owner is, getting permission to identify that you worked on the project publicly, and getting whatever permissions you need if you are not hiring the photographer and somebody else who worked on the project is, finding out what are the rules for using the photos, how do you buy them, how do you license them, who owns them, etc.
Absolutely. And get really granular on that because it will help you plan for your social platforms and for any, again, presentations that you might make so that you just are always prepared.
Yeah. And then later on, after the project has closed out, you probably want to revisit this list and add in any certifications that the project has achieved, like if it's a LEED Gold building, if it's WELL V2, and any awards that the project has won.
I think the other thing to not take for granted is that the name of the project might change as time goes on. And so, it's worth a double check at least once a year to see if the name remained the same, especially in multifamily residential. That's a pretty common issue that happens, less so in other forms of architecture, but for sure.
Well, and what you can do, let's say the name of your project was very signature, and then somebody came in and bought the building and they changed the name. You can always say, the such and such, formerly the such and such.
Yep.
If you don't want to lose that association with. But it is important to identify that it has a new name, because there will, as time goes on, people will know it by that new name and won't understand that's the same project that you did.
Any big takeaways beyond this list that we've,
Follow the list.
yeah,
That's the big takeaway.
make it?
Print it out, put it on your, append it to whatever your normal project checklist is, and just assign somebody in the office to collect all of this information.
And we'll have a downloadable doc of this available in the show notes of the podcast.
Yeah, you don't even have to write this down. I should have said that at the top of the episode. You don't have to write this down, but good on you if you did. You'll remember it more that way. But we will have a checklist. You can print it out. You can send it around. You can upload it to wherever you keep such documents. So thank you for joining us. We are now closing out this episode. Get it? On that note, thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.